Okay, so here with Gunner. Introduce yourself for a minute.
Hey, I'm Alan Gunn. I'm executive director of an NGO called Aspiration that's based in the U.S. but works globally to help NGOs make more effective use of technology.
Yep, and we're at the Shuttleworth Foundation gathering in Berlin here. Last night we had a good discussion about creating a specification. So in particular regarding a CAD platform for open source ecology. So how do we specify that? How do we write a good specification? What does it take?
Right on. I think first and foremost, our position is that you don't quote-unquote write a specification, but rather you model it as a community engagement opportunity. And by modeling it as a community engagement opportunity, you collectively tease out what is the mandate for the software solution that you want to provide. So first and foremost, we encourage organizations to figure out who are your actual users. Don't design for a monolithic generic user. Don't try to be everything to everyone, but instead, who are the specific types of users your technology is going to empower? And before you move any further, find some real, warm, live versions of those people to be a part of your process. Once you've got those people involved, you then move into a phase of what technologically is referred to as user stories. These are simple descriptions of what the platform can do to deliver benefit to these specific types of users. And what we recommend is an iterative process where, working with your actual users, your lightweight advisory group, you iterate on what are the user stories the platform delivers, but not only that, what are the highest priority versions? What are the highest priority features? And what is the smallest version of the deliverable that lets you start having users touch it, beat it up, and tell you how to evolve it to really meet their needs. So it really is trying to take community organizing and grassroots movement principles and apply it to the way users are involved in the sourcing of technology, and get away from the expert paradigm that says a small number of people in a sealed set of rooms can specify a technology solution that arguably has relevance for an arbitrarily large group of users.
Yeah, we discussed some details about the language to use, like the minimum language. So talk us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well done user stories. Once you've got your audiences specified and then specific user stories per audience, a well done set of user stories implicitly establishes a minimal essential vocabulary for the project, for the technology platform. What are the verbs? What are the nouns or the objects? And by having extreme discipline in using the smallest number of words, if you have, say, drawing and diagram as nouns inside of user stories, are those qualitatively different things? Or is drawing the word that you can use for everything? Having that sort of reductionist, real sparse approach to vocabulary gets you to a minimal essential vocabulary, which by extension should simplify subsequent project phases, because hopefully everyone is using the same invariant set of words to describe the user experience.
Yep, and we talked about the basically how do you set the stage, how do you get what you want out of it, and one of the keys we said was granularity. And if you can summarize briefly the keys to an effective specification.
Well, I think the main key is the iterative approach, with the idea that the sooner people are interacting with a running prototype, the more likely you are to avoid large errors in your deliverable. And by building the ownership and the investment on the part of your users, the more likely you are to realize genuine adoption of that which you roll out. And so a model that establishes the minimum viable deliverable, and then from there adds on features in a way that really prioritizes what the users are telling you it most needs to do, guarantees no success, but it minimizes the odds that you're really going off, and from a corrective or iterative standpoint, increases the likelihood that you're actually delivering value to the people that want to use what you're building.
Yeah, and maybe just summarize on the granularity part, where we don't get into a guessing game of what's brought to us. That was a big point we talked about yesterday. So if you can break it down into the smallest detail, and not by here's how you do it, but here's what it has to do, like draw a line.
Exactly. You want in specifying a software deliverable, a very important Zen discipline is to stay in the what should it do as opposed to the how should it do it. Because how it should be done, the actual implementation detail, should come much later. And that is both in terms of what technology you select to implement the deliverable, but also what are the specific details, the gestures, the absolute granular, most specific aspects of the user experience.
Yep.
Resist the temptation to design those first, and instead focus on what are the primary value delivery mechanisms for the platform, and get the buy-in and the prioritization of those before you move to the solution space. Our mantra, technology last.
Okay. Yeah, well, that sounds good. So this is Alan Gunn. Thank you very much. It was a good session today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.